your love to me.
The motivation comes the minute the show starts, the minute the first, intro goes in.
My love and I'll fade away.
They're thinking of harmony, melody, and timing, how to stay in touch.
A lot of the time the people are talking to you, they're going, and I'm going, I've got to remember the next change, And it's really funny.
For me, once I sit down to play, I don't think about that until I stand up finished at the end.
After the first few shows, after playing Got Me Rocking, Love Is Strong, Sparks Will Fly, how does it? It's like they've been there forever.
Each one's been slightly different as well. The Mexican one was different. It was pretty tough, Mexico, because it was so high up. And every time I couldn't even sing, let alone move around. I'd sing the first line great, second line great, third line, I start to run out of breath, fourth line, there was no line. And trying to move as well, I was like, so that's what it's like to be fit and 70, I feel like. It was pretty hard going.
With me, I'm hurting, abuse me, for certain. Slavery should not exist. Is this what it get? A poison kiss? I'm going wild when you're in my face. I'm going wild when I taste your taste. I'm going wild. Insane, I'm getting sick. Somebody stop the pain.
They're just getting good. Oh, it's very good chemistry. Charlie and Darryl are really locked in. I needed a new engine down in the engine room, reciprocating engines, That's what we got.
They trust me to do my job. There's no one really hanging over my head to say, okay, play this way or do this or do that. And I imagine that that's what they were looking for, someone that they could not have to worry about it with, and in that, someone who's not going to change it so much that it becomes something that's different than the Rolling Stones.
Fantastic. Words are not needed.
We've just known each other so long, I don't know really.
I describe it like this, very explosive, could explode at any minute.
We play a lot like that.
The risk is the kick.
Particularly with Keith, you do.
Angels told me.
There's a lot of talent. All the great people we have with us, like Bernard Fowler and Lisa Fisher and Chuck Leavell and Bobby Keys, they're great guys.
Quiero presentar a banda. Primero a la bella Lisa Fisher.
I'm going on tour with the Rolling Stones.
El buen hermoso Bernard Fowler.
Feel is perfection.
On the piano, Chuck Leavell.
Even though it is a spectacle, the most important thing is the music.
On the saxophone, Mr. Bobby Keys.
What is the magic? Magic is rock and roll.
The bass, Mr. Darryl Jones.
The way the music, the way it grooves.
It does give me satisfaction. I feel good being here. People always say, well, what's it like being on the road with the Rolling Stones? I hear they're so crazy. People think, oh, they just go up stage and they just have a good time. It's a party. It's a big, big party. But it's work.
What you've seen is what you'll get. But it's better.
A lot of edge,
It's just the right formula. The Stones are universal.
I can't explain it. I just dig it.
I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it.
Roots.
The worst thing is a musician talking about music.
Roots.
You need poets for that.
Basically,
We still never forget Muddy Waters.
Chuck Berry,
Duke Ellington,
Little Richard,
Soul and R&B.
good rock and roll.
Miles Davis,
Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly,
Lester Young.
they turned us on.
Oh yeah.
I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. Yes, I do.
It's always nice to have a good stage.
Well, obviously we didn't want to do the same as the last Steel Wheels and Urban Jungle tour, so we took more of a modernist principle with very bright reflective surfaces, aluminium and so on. So it becomes a sort of relatively modernistic structure with a few allusions to modern technology and so on. And the other thing that we did differently is to integrate the video screen into the centre of the stage, so that it's not just an adjunct to the sides, that you look at the centre, then you look at the side. So you can always focus on the centre, and the screen is an integral part of the show.
This screen has made an incredible difference. You know, at first when I felt, oh, it's the biggest screen in the world, yeah, big deal. Another, high tech, wow, that's great. But I realized within a few weeks that this screen it can actually make a stadium into a small room. Because you can't see the screen, because if you look at it, you can see the back of your head. So, but you suddenly got the message from the audience, that their reaction to things. And so we started to figure it out and work with the cameramen, guys, and, put people together. It's made a lot of difference. And after all, Darryl Jones moves.
Marionette-like.
I'll say, hey, and my name is gone to Stillbones. I'll shout and scream and kill the pain and rail at all the Stillbones.
Yes, I'd like a #1 record, please.
Yeah, I think a band like the Rolling Stones there's good things about it, that it's got a good tradition and so on, and then it's very based in these very long roots. And the criticism of it is that, given that though, the Rolling Stones will tend to repeat itself too much, and so you have to try and find the line where it's innovative enough but not slavish to fashion, but yet true to its roots, yet not boring and repetitive. So it's kind of like really a fine line, I find.
I thought it was one of the best records we've made for a long time. So by the time I was into it and finishing it, I said, well, if this don't fly, then I crash.
If you don't know what's going on, then you can be imitating. You think you've invented some great new style which someone's done 5 years ago. You say, oh, well, sorry, that's been done, to death. Oh, I thought it was new. No. That's a joke, but that can happen, I'm not saying you have to be a slave. I don't think you should be a slave to, new things necessarily, but in pop music, I think it's good to keep your ear on the ground some.
I mean, the 80s, people forgot how to play, people just pushing buttons, going, give me a drum beat, Miss Smith. And because it was much cheaper to make records with a synthesizer, you got years of totally synthesized music. But at the same time, music is far stronger than that. And there's nothing like the human touch with music.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and trade. I've been around for many a long year, so many a man's soul and faith.
Well, the thing with Europe is they've seen us a lot before,
Completely different.
Europe's always great to play with.
It's more familiar.
Familiar territory.
It's nearer home, isn't it?
It's not harder.
Looking forward to
Everyone is more at home there.
They made us to begin with, you know.
Of course, yes.
They've seen everything we do for the past 30 years.
Germany,
England,
or a Paris audience.
France.
Austrians are okay too.
London audience.
French are great.
You know, each country has its own specific qualities and wonderful things. And, you know, one or two disadvantages. You know, there's things that you play with. You know, some countries really work efficiently, some don't. Sometimes they like different numbers in different countries. Different songs might go over better. Some songs that go one place won't go in another.
You know, like last time round, right towards the end, the middle of August, a year and 2 weeks into the tour, we went to Prague as Havel's guest and met with the president. And in the courtyard of the presidential palace, there were like 25,000 people chanting and chanting. And we were on this balcony, and the band asked Havel, "What are they saying?" And he said they were all chanting, "We love you, President Havel. Thank you for bringing us the Rolling Stones."
It's like for sailors in a storm, it's always nice to know a safe harbor, right? Yeah, I hope so. We're just trying to do our best, you know, and knowing within ourselves that there's more in there. There's, you know, and the idea of stopping, you would feel stupid, you know, if you sort of got off the bus so and just saw it going over the horizon in a cloud of dust and wondering where it was going without you on it. You know? So, you know, it'd be like... but conversely, I mean, you wouldn't get them to do it, and we wouldn't do it, you know, just to do it. Wow.
Once it comes to the town, it's like a circus. It goes up, people come, it's a fantastic thing for one night or two nights, and then it's gone, and you know, it's not there anymore, and there's nothing left. You know, there's just your memory of the experience, like a circus, and you know it's somewhere else, but it's no longer there.